Welcome to They Live for Horror podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and with me, as always, my longtime friend, horror movie buff,
Thomas.
Good old Tom. We're here today to discuss the John Carpenter directed hit, Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper led alien, anti-capitalism, sci-fi horror cult classic They Live. They're aliens, right? Yes. It's established in the movie that they're aliens.
Yeah.
This movie, as I said, does star Rowdy Roddy Piper of WWF fame, Keith David, who also worked with John Carpenter in The Thing,
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jason, not related in any way to Peter Jackson.
That wasn't Peter Jackson.
No.
Damn.
And Meg Foster, along with several other people. Basically, they're the only ones who had a career.
The erotic Meg Foster.
And as we said,
Here we go. Oh,
you had to open it.
sorry, man. I thought that was going to be quieter.
Son of a... Directed by John Carpenter, like I said, who is famous for The Thing, Halloween, Escape from New York.
Yep.
This is from 1988, so this is actually past those movies. One quick thing, one bit of trivia I wanted to get to before we actually get into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually going to be Kurt Russell, not Rowdy Roddy Piper. But Kurt Russell had already worked with John Carpenter twice. Didn't want to seem like all he was working with. He didn't want like a Johnny Depp. What's his name?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton thing going on, even though they like each other a lot. Man, could you imagine Kurt Russell in the Hot Rod role? It works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe better. Maybe not. Maybe Kurt Russell's fucking fantastic. One of the most underrated actors of all time, in my opinion.
Excellent actor.
This movie entirely filmed in the city of Los Angeles. I don't even know that you can do that anymore. They never actually say they're in Los Angeles. They never tell you where they are.
No.
Throughout this movie, the only hint that they are anywhere is that they're not in Colorado, which is one of my favorite lines. She goes, where was your last employment? And he goes, Colorado. 10 years.
Yeah.
Why? They never established, why does he always try to get a job at a bank?
Nada?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird, right? He walks in, he's like, I worked at a bank. He's trying to get a job at a bank. I look at him, and I don't see banker. Like, was he a janitor, security guard?
Maintenance man.
The other unanswerable question from this movie is he's wearing a wedding ring. Hot Rod is. But they never established that Nada's married. Or he never brings up his family.
No.
It's weird that he's wearing a wedding ring, though.
Keith David brings up his family.
He does. Also, Keith David not wearing a ring in this movie. So, then he's doing construction work, so maybe he digs into his hand when he's shoveling. For those of you that haven't seen They Live for Horror, or They Live, excuse me, the name of our podcast is They Live for Horror. It is a movie that is entirely set in John Carpenter's hippie mind. I mean, he is so anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
This movie's more relevant now than it was when it came out with the advent of social media. Mm-hmm. You go on Instagram, every other fucking post is someone being fake and trying to sell you something. This movie was rooted in John Carpenter's dislike of Reaganomics of the 80s, how it left a lot of poor people behind, and Los Angeles was a shithole, and it had a bunch of homeless people. Boy, has anything changed?
I don't think so.
In 32 years. This movie came out in 1988, so I was 1 year old when this movie came out. And nothing has changed in that time. Los Angeles looks the same.
Yeah.
It's still billboards everywhere trying to sell you shit you don't want.
Yep.
What was your favorite part of this movie, if you had to pick one?
Probably the fist fight, where he's just like, you put these damn glasses on.
He was so adamant.
Yeah.
And I get that, like, Nada had just been in the news for literally murdering a bunch of cops and random people at a bank, which that scene is probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, at a bank.
It has the most iconic line. This movie has several great lines that are delivered perfectly, cheesily, wonderfully by Hot Rod. The most famous being, of course, I am here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I am all out of bubble gum.
Yeah.
By the way, no one at this bank knows what the fuck's going on. They're like, what? Who is this guy? Why does he have a shotgun? Why is he wearing sunglasses?
He doesn't know he's in a bank, though. He turns around and is like, oh, shit, I'm in a bank.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You're right. The other one I really liked was, the other line was, life's a bitch and she's in heat again.
Yeah.
Life will kick your ass and your teeth. Or when it's not kicking your ass, it's kicking your teeth, something like that.
You put on those glasses or you start eating some trash can.
One that's a good one. One bit of trivia I brought up the wedding ring, and then I just checked my notes, and it turns out Hot Rod had just gotten married and refused to take it off. That's the only reason he's wearing a wedding ring in the movie and why it's never brought up.
Oh.
There were actual homeless people used in this movie. Not surprisingly. My favorite homeless guy, if you watch this movie, right after they raid the homeless encampment, for no reason, the next day, people are cleaning up trash. There's just a fat dude laying down with his shirt all the way up to his chest and like his tongue out and sleeping. I don't know if that was like one of the real homeless guys or if it was just an actor who went all in.
I gotta say, I don't trust anyone that he saw before he got glasses.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
There's 40 minutes into this movie before we find out what this movie's actually about.
I know, you're just kind of like, what's this drifter doing?
Yeah, it's a drifter movie until like about 40 minutes in, and all of a sudden there's aliens everywhere. Something mysterious going on in a church, something mysterious about some broadcast.
Yep.
But for the most part, you're talking about, you have no idea, and all of a sudden he puts the glasses on and there's a fucked up looking alien formaldehyde lady. And they get all talking to their watches.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
We got one that can see.
Another one that John Carpenter got right about the future was random ass people talking to their watches.
That's true.
Smart watches.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, you need to. But the obey, the consume,
This is your God when he's got money or whatever.
Yeah, very pro. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a profound moment. Most what the fuck moments got to be, like I said, 40 minutes in, all of a sudden there's aliens.
Yeah.
Had you? I hadn't seen. I was 10 years old when I saw this movie for the first time.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I wanted to watch it because it had Roddy Piper. I had no idea what it was about, and all of a sudden I was a little scared. You know, I'm 10. I hadn't really watched a ton of horror movies until then.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd count this as a horror movie. That was more of a sci-fi. Sci-fi meets horror because they are scary looking. What was your most what the fuck moment? How are they not scary looking? You gave me this look.
What the fuck is when she throws him out the window?
That is the craziest. I actually was going to bring that up when we were doing nitpicks. There's a lot of really bad fight sequences in this movie. She so glaringly misses him with that bottle, and yet it breaks, and he tumbles out that window like he just got shot by a fucking cannon. Is this woman jacked to the gills and just strong as hell? Like, she hits him with a beer bottle, or not a beer bottle, a glass.
Yeah.
And he flies like he fucking got hit by Andre the Giant. He gets tossed out that window. The stuntman is so obviously a foot taller than Roddy Piper. Like, they didn't even try with that one. But yeah, that's definitely, like, she just wham.
Yeah.
How did he come back to trust her? Like, when he sees her later in the movie, she already clearly established herself as willing to knock him out of a fucking window the second he brings up broadcasting and ending the broadcast. I wouldn't have trusted that bitch.
Nope.
But then again, he was wearing glasses when he met her, and she wasn't one of the aliens.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I guess he never really thought, like, oh, I bet humans are working with him. You find that out later. The Rotten Tomatoes score for this is 86%, with audiences is right around that, too. So this movie's critically liked after the fact. This is a cult hit. This movie had a budget of $4 million, came away with just $13 million. So low budget, though. I would have thought more to shoot in Los Angeles. But then again, when you're only using homeless encampments and beat-up buildings, it's almost like when we did. Obviously, we've rebooted our series here, so we're starting back with episode 1.
Yeah.
But we did Maniac. We'll revisit Maniac because there's so much interesting stuff to talk about with that movie. It made me think of Maniac. And just like it felt like it was shot quickly and in like the dirtiest places they could find. Obviously, Maniac, though, they were doing illegal filming. I think John Carpenter probably had all the permits at this point in his career. There are moments where you watch John Carpenter movies and you're just wondering if he wasn't a music composer and then just made movies around his music.
That's true.
He's got some of the most iconic music in any movies, and he just loves making music.
He knows how to fit his genre, too.
Yep. That's one thing about John Carpenter. Never wanted to be known as a horror or sci-fi director.
Really?
He wanted to be a Western director. He wanted to direct Westerns, action movies, and he ends up doing some of the most iconic horror movies of the 80s. Obviously, Halloween. That was 70s, though. The Thing, on and on. And he winds up making this as well. They test screened. Like I said, they wanted Kurt Russell, didn't get him. They ended up test screening a couple people before they got to Hot Rod. So Hot Rod nailed it. And John Carpenter said he just loved Hot Rod's don't care attitude. Hot Rod walked into the audition, act like he didn't want the part, didn't care. That's exactly what they wanted. Did this movie actually scare you?
No.
You know, in retrospect, the society itself scares me now.
Yeah.
the control of advertising over everything you do in your life.
Stogie?
No, I'm good. Please don't. Are you going to start smoking right here on the podcast? I guess it does fit the Suplex City Limits channel.
Well, I should be lighting a blunt then.
It's true. Who stole the show, in your opinion? It's Keith David, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Roddy's
You know the
great.
most what the fuck moments when Meg Foster shoots him?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, shoots Keith David.
It was a spark right in front of you.
That's fine with me, man.
Nope.
You do you. But yeah, I guess that's definitely up there. I thought Keith David was really great in this movie. He was great in The Thing. Didn't have as big a career as I would have hoped.
Swisher Sweets.
The cheapest damn cigar you could come up with for our return to podcasting. Couldn't even celebrate it with like a true stogie.
Oh no.
So I think we're both in agreement. The only other one I would say is maybe Peter Jason as Gilbert. I think was that his name?
Gilbert,
Yeah. Great character.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the smoking homeless guy from the start is the guy who gives them the tour at the end.
Oh shit, it is.
It is. Dude.
Yeah.
I didn't figure that out till last night.
I was today's years old when you just told me that. I connected it in my head.
Bam.
Shake and bake, brother. Best kill. Shotgun blast to the face in the bank.
Yeah, the one where they actually show the blood splatter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie's light on blood.
It's very light.
You got tits in at the very, very end.
Hey man, don't make me have to splatter your brains.
That cop was on point. That dude chews up scenery the second he gets
He
there.
does.
You're as gross to us as we are to you. And Hot Rod's like, I doubt that. That's not possible. I doubt that's possible. You disgust me as much as we disgust you.
Yeah.
That dude showed up, and he's like, I'm going to get an Oscar out of this. I'm going to get a job after this.
The way he gets them too, he just charges in there.
He fucking win for it. We do, like you said earlier, we do have to talk about that fight scene. It's the most iconic scene next to the bubblegum line.
Yeah.
It's like a 15-minute fight scene.
Yeah, man.
Where Hot Rod's doing like WWF moves,
Yeah.
and Keith David's throwing elbows like this is Muay Thai. Like it's
he does not want to wear those glasses.
They really won't. Yeah, I want to point this out. Tom, you come to me. You've killed a few people, okay?
Yeah.
All right, but we're friends, all right? I'm going to put the fucking glasses on, all right? I am not going to fist fight you. You were so adamant. Put these glasses on. Put these glasses on, man. Oh, fine, fuck, dude, okay.
Truth is in there.
I'm not going to get punched in the face because some guy wants me to wear sunglasses. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? He's so adamant about not wearing those sunglasses.
It's all about UV protection, brother.
It's another one of my nitpicks for this movie. Is like, why was he so against wearing those? He shows up to give a fucking mass murderer 1 week's pay, but won't put sunglasses on?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, man. Also, where did he get the week's pay from?
Yeah.
He's homeless, too.
1 week's pay.
Yeah. Did you say what your best kill was? Same one as mine?
Best kill, yeah, where they actually show the...
Yeah.
It's really quick, but yeah.
What role would have... We used to say, would Sid Haig work in this movie, Our Love of Sid Haig? But now I've changed it to... Because every time we say, yes, he'd make this movie better.
Yeah.
I've changed it to, what role would you put Sid Haig in? I'm going with the preacher. Not the blind preacher.
Okay. I'm saying the bearded guy that guards the door.
That works too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I picture
I think
blind...
he's called bearded guy.
He is. He's credited bearded guy. That would work, man. But yeah, I like the blind pastor. I feel like
Yeah.
Sid Haig would play that one really well, especially when he attacks Hot Rod. Let me touch your face.
Yeah. He has way more to do with that movie than you think.
He does, man.
He's in like that first...
He's in the very first opening sequence, which, by the way, is way too long of a walking sequence.
It is.
That's a John Carpenter opening credits like
That's him
shtick.
getting his blues song in
Yep.
there.
It really is. He's like, okay, how long can I just have Hot Rod walking? All right, there's train tracks. There's, But yeah, the first voice you hear in the movie is the pastor.
Yeah, that's true.
So Sid Haig, to me, would have been intense and perfect for that spot there.
Let me feel your face, boy. Or
Uh,
I'm going to come.
ooh.
I don't know.
I feel like if you feel my face, you're going to.
Oh, my cigar went out.
You gotta keep puffing. What could you remake this movie? Absolutely.
Yes, it's a good bare bones structure to something blockbuster.
Yeah, and also, like I said earlier, it's more relevant now than it was 32 years ago.
It is, yeah.
Like, I can see, and if you really want to keep it in line with pro wrestling, I could see CM Punk playing Nada.
I could see Moxley playing him.
Either one would work. Punk or John Moxley would definitely work. I didn't even think about that. That's a good one. That's a good pull.
Yeah. Now, who would be a good Keith David? That's a hard one.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews, yes, he would.
He could be gruff enough. He's funny, but he could be gruff enough for that role. He's jacked. He could be you could see him as a construction worker down on his luck.
Oh yeah.
I would go Terry Crews.
Terry, you look poor.
He knows how to, man. He came from like a family of like 6 brothers or 6 sisters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to Detroit. Poor as could be. Anyways, is this John Carpenter's best movie?
No.
No, it's not.
No.
It's up there though.
The Thing.
The Thing is my favorite John Carpenter movie. You know what underrated John Carpenter movie is John Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh, is that good?
It's so fucking good, man.
Oh.
He finally got a shot at a Western. Like,
Oh.
it's his version of a Western, except it has vampires and James Woods, man.
Nice.
So good. We should cover that in the future. It's such a damn
Okay.
good movie. Other underrated ones. Body Bags is good. That's an anthology one he did.
Yeah.
That's a
the
fun
one where
one.
the guy grows hair.
Yeah,
right?
He gets hair plugs and they end up being little aliens.
John Carpenter's a
Spoiler
mad
alert.
scientist in between. Right?
No, he's a coroner.
Or no, a mortician.
Yeah,
or
mortician.
something.
Yeah, coroner, mortician. Tom, here's your chance picking nits.
Picking nits, man.
I gave you my 2 picking nits.
Ah, you did.
Because let me just say real quick while you're thinking about your picking nits. When you watch this movie, watch the guy who does the preaching on the TV get hit with a billy club by the cop. The cop hits the wall, and you can clearly hear a clink from it hitting the wall because he's so not hitting the guy in front of him. And the blind black pastor gets hit. Only it misses him so wildly. I thought the guy swinging at him was blind.
Yeah, that's my picking nits.
It's up there, man. It's like, how do you have such a good fight sequence between Keith David and Roddy Piper and then do that?
How do you wear a wedding ring and not explain it?
That's right. You know what? There could be some mystery with that. That was my other picking nits. You're right. What's another one you got? Do you have any more?
I got who got fucked up the most in that fight? Who got the worst?
Oh, Roddy got his ass kicked.
He did, man.
I mean, he's much bigger than him, though. You know the line by I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass and I'm all out of bubblegum was an ad-lib line by Roddy Piper.
Really?
Yep. The writer of this movie, by the way, was John Carpenter using a pseudonym. John Carpenter did not want you to... in some of his movies, he used fake names.
Yeah.
Yep, because he didn't want... I don't know. There's something about him. He wanted you to know he was...
modesty?
It could be.
He doesn't want to have all the titles like... You know, Rob Zombie writes and directs and stars and produces and fucks.
Yeah, that's true.
In every movie.
Yep. Actually,
fucks
he's not in any
every
of his
movie.
movies. He's not in any of his movies. His wife is, though.
She fucks in every movie.
She's DTF, down to film.
Down to film?
Yep.
Fucking.
Vince McMahon, just a little trivia here before we go. Vince McMahon didn't want Piper to be in the film.
Really?
Yep. He thought that it would make Piper a babyface, and he was too busy having Piper be a heel. That's such a Vince thing. He didn't want anybody bigger than Hulk Hogan.
He was gritty enough. I don't know. What about that? How did John have to have the one nude scene right at the end?
Yeah.
Because otherwise I could just show this to my kids.
Yeah, I mean, you just cut off. That's the very last scene.
It's the
just
very
cut that
last
off, man.
scene.
Just stop it right before that.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. But yeah, there's just random
Satellite
tits right
blows
there.
up. Shut it
Yep,
off.
that's it right there.
Not that the satellite blows up. I'm not trying to spoil anything. But it does blow up.
I mean, hey, man, if you're listening to this, this movie debuted #1 at the box office and then disappeared. It wasn't even in top 5 the next week.
Wow.
John Carpenter calls that the most peculiar thing of his career.
Oh, like that.
It was the #1 movie, then disappeared. It made the majority of its $13 million that opening weekend, and then just went away. And this was like 1988, so like VHS was sort of coming around.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't get a life of its own as a cult classic until DVDs for the most part.
Probably, yeah.
And when it became, it got into that cable rotation, sort of like, Tremors. It got on that USA, TNT sort of circuit. And those movies got huge, and that's a lot of thanks to guys like Joe Bob Briggs played this on his Monster Vision show.
Mm-hmm.
And he's such a huge Roddy Piper fan, Joe Bob Briggs is. But Yeah, I mean, this is a movie. I would say at the end of this, we're gonna say the final question, the final category is: would you recommend this movie? I mean, absolutely, we would. We named our
Absolutely.
podcast after it.
Yes.
One of our favorite movies.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool title. They live.
They live.
They live. You
Or
sleep.
horror. We sleep. Yeah.
Yep. So, you can find me at Funny Libertarian on Twitter. Tom, pretty much not on Twitter anymore.
Not on Twitter.
Or you can find us at TLOH Pod on Twitter. Pretty active.
TLFH.
Thank you. I hate our Twitter handle. It's tough.
Don't let me create stuff and make it tough.
At Suplex City Limits. Want to thank them. We're back on their channel.
Yeah.
They've got 4 other podcasts going right now. 3
Do
other
they?
podcasts. We're the 4th. Yeah, they got Check Engine Light podcast, Old Men and Metal or something like that. I've listened to it a couple times. Jim's a huge metal fan, and they Suplex City flagship program. So
Hell yeah. Gotta shout them out.
yeah, and this if you're listening to this on YouTube, click subscribe, and we're gonna be back with episode 2 in our version 2.0 of this podcast. We are going to cover what?
The Void.
The Void. We're going for The Void. If you haven't seen it, one of the best movies of the last 15 years, maybe one of the greatest horror movies ever made, in my opinion. And, hey, man, we're right in here around 21, 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
Perfect.
We are
We are
Gold.
DTF.
down to film. All right, we're clear. Dude, that was... Did you have to do it pantsless? The whole thing.